Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Coaster News. And as always, we've got some amazing news from different theme parks, rides, attractions and events all over the world. So let's get straight into the news today. Our top story for tonight, Thorpe Park have revealed that Derren Brown's Ghost Train will be completely transformed into a new, rethemed attraction and will be renamed to just simply Ghost Train. And this is actually a pretty good and wise decision from the park. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, basically Derren Brown's Ghost Train was an indoor dark ride simulator type attraction. It's kind of complicated to explain what type of ride it was because it was very unique to the Thorpe Park themselves. It was basically a virtual reality attraction with a live action part in the middle that had scary actors in it. It's essentially, I guess it's kind of classed as a form of dark ride. Basically, you went inside this building which was supposed to be like a railway station. You went inside this old Victorian train, but on the interior of it was like a modern, modern streamliner train. You put on the virtual reality goggles and it was basically supposed to be like these scary creatures from the depths of the underworld coming out to... and it was a 13-minute long experience. And obviously there was a live action section in the middle where you got out of the train and into a new one. When you put on the virtual reality goggles again, it played the rest of the experience and it was over. So obviously, Thorpe Park actually, Derren Brown's Ghost Train first opened in 2016, just simply as Derren Brown's Ghost Train. It was an investment of £30 million, however, when it first opened it got quite mixed reviews, mainly negative reviews actually. A lot of people probably complained that the attraction either was a virtual reality experience didn't suit the style of attraction it was. A lot of the problems was the maintenance, because it was a high-tech experience. It kept breaking down a lot. So for the 2017 season, they rebranded it to Derren Brown's Ghost Train: Rise of the Demon, and they fixed some of the special effects and changed the storyline slightly. And people say it was better a little bit after that, but it still got negative reviews over the years. So this season, Thorpe Park have decided to change it an entirely new attraction. They've removed the Derren Brown intellectual property, and they've presumably removed the virtual reality goggles, and they've just simply renamed it to Ghost Train. I mean, that's definitely... that'll probably make people's perception of it a lot more positive, because if they're removing the VR goggles, that means that they've got to have a lot more practical effects on the attraction. It'll probably be very similar to what it was before, just without VR or on Derren Brown. But it looks like a very interesting investment for the park this season, and I cannot wait to see what Ghost Train is like. In other news today, Alton Towers have revealed their events lineup for 2023. And obviously, it's always great news when the Alton Towers announced their events lineup for the season. And this year, even though it's the same lineup as last year, we've got Alton Towers Festival of Thrills running from the 17th of April to the 7th of May. Then we've got Alton Towers Mardi Gras running from the 20th of May to the 18th of June, which is then followed by Alton Towers Oktoberfest, which is going to run from the 9th of September to the 1st of October. Then we've got Scarefest, which is going to run from the 7th, 8th, and then the 13th to the 31st of October. Then obviously we have the fireworks, which will run from the 3rd until the 5th of November. And then Alton Towers Christmas, which is going to run from the 24th of November until the 30th of December 2023. So it's literally the same lineup of this year, however, there's a difference. Alton Towers Festival of Thrills is being rebranded as Alton Towers Festival of Thrills The Smiler Takeover. Because basically this year marks the 10th anniversary of the Smiler. And that is an absolutely huge... this is a huge year for that attraction. It has been 10 years since the Smiler first opened at Alton Towers back in 2013, and it broke all the records when it first opened. It was the world's first 14 looping roller coaster, and it still holds that record to this very day, 10 years later. Wow. And I wonder how they're going to do Festival of Thrills this year with the Smiler Takeover. Obviously we had Festival of Thrills last year, that was an entire area just dedicated to the Smiler and Oblivion. That was only in one area, obviously, in X Sector. So how are they going to do it this year? Well, I'm not sure actually. I mean, if obviously it's still Festival of Thrills, so there's going to be music related to the different roller coasters. Last year's Festival of Thrills, it was good, but it could definitely have been improved. Like, for example, when they had the dance performances outside the stage, there was only like maybe one or two performers actually out in front of the stage. I felt that they could have done it like how Thorpe Park did Amity vs. Lycanthrope at Fright Nights, where it had like about a dozen or so performers dancing in front of the main stage area. That would be pretty cool to see. So I wonder if they'll do it this year for Festival of Thrills. They probably, because obviously when they do these events for the first time, they always take people's feedback and they'll take that into account and they'll try and improve on what they did before. So hopefully they'll have some more performers dancing in front of the stages, because that would be really cool to see. Because hopefully they'll make each show like a big, huge performance, like Amity vs. Lycanthrope at Fright Nights was. Obviously, and I cannot wait to see what the Smiler takeover of Festival of Thrills is like, and I'm looking forward to the year ahead. Also in the news today, the track for the Voltron Coaster at Europa-Park has now gone vertical. This is once again a massive milestone in the construction of this brand new Mack Rides attraction. If you know what I'm talking about, basically Voltron Coaster, which is just a code name for it, it's not its official name, but Voltron Coaster is a brand new roller coaster opening at Europa-Park for the 2024 season. It is a Mack Rides Big Dipper roller coaster, and it is part of a brand new themed land themed to Croatia. It's going to be heavily themed, obviously, when it opens, and specifically, the coaster itself is themed to, I believe, something like Nikola Tesla's discovery of electricity, hence the name Voltron Coaster, for the code name. We don't know what the actual name of the attraction is going to be like, so for now, until they've officially announced the name, I'm just going to call it Voltron Coaster, which in itself is kind of a cool name anyway. But obviously, it's different than some of the other Mack Big Dippers out there. The first ever Mack Rides Big Dipper was Lost Gravity at Wallaby Holland back in 2016. That was the original prototype Big Dipper. The Big Dipper roller coaster is essentially Mack Rides' take on a Gerstlauer Eurofighter style attraction with like a weird and twisty layout, things like that. However, obviously the Voltron Coaster looks to be a completely very different experience, because the Voltron Coaster looks to have a multi-pass launch, it's a vertical, including like a vertical launch, which turns into like an upside down lift hill style element, a backwards vertical spike switch tracks, and it looks a lot more technologically advanced than some of the other Big Dippers. There's only like 2 operating in the world at this moment in time, and I would say the last one was in 2019. There's a few more opening this year and next year. I believe there's one going to Wiener-Prater in Austria as well. But this Voltron Coaster is going to be the first Mack Big Dipper with launchers and a backwards vertical spike. And the upside down sort of lift hill launch element, that's very similar to the upside down lift hill on G-Force that existed at Drayton Manor from 2005 until 2018. But it's more of a launch to lift hill. So that honestly looks very cool. We've not had something like that in a very long time. And this attraction just looks so thrilling. It's got probably the most unique Mack Big Dipper to open. Obviously there's a few others opening around the world within the next couple of years. There's obviously the one in Wiener-Prater in Austria, and there's one opening in Vietnam next year, I think, or this year. And it honestly looks really cool, and I cannot wait for it to open. And finally, in the news today, the trains for Pipeline the Surf Coaster at SeaWorld Orlando are now on the track. And obviously this is absolutely fantastic, and is a sign for what the next phase of the construction of this attraction to take place. If you don't know what I'm talking about, basically Pipeline the Surf Coaster is a brand new roller coaster opening at SeaWorld Orlando in Florida, USA. It is the world's first B&M surf coaster, and if you don't know what that is, basically a surf coaster is, it's like a stand-up coaster, which B&M haven't built in a long old time, but it's going to contain launches. So yeah, this thing is going to be capable of a launch, and you might be wondering, hang on a minute, B&M are building another stand-up coaster. Now, I've never been on a stand-up coaster before, but from what I've heard from them, apparently they're all like really uncomfortable, rough roller coasters. and they're very notorious for being that way. However, because this is a modern stand-up coaster, B&M have got the different restraints on it, so hopefully it'll be a fun and smooth experience for everyone. And obviously this attraction is very unique. It's obviously going to be the most unique stand-up roller coaster to ever be built when it opens later this year. And obviously the track was completed quite a while ago. I think it was like a couple of months ago, I think. And the train has since been like put into the maintenance shed next to the station, which means that hopefully soon testing will start. Now, how the testing on this coaster is going to go, I have no idea, because it's the world's first it's the world's first. But if it's anything like other launch coasters, they'll have like a crane pull the train along the track slowly, and I mean very slowly, over a multitude of days to make sure there's like no hidden like mistakes in the track or any bumps in anything, just like nothing that could prevent it from operating correctly. And then when they've done that, they can do like the full speed launch, or they can start doing gradual test launches of it. It's like launching at gradual like different speeds, and then eventually they can do the full speed launch at the maximum speed of around 60 miles an hour. And I cannot wait for this attraction to open because it looks so unique, and a lot of people are saying that it looks like quite tame. I mean, bearing in mind it is the world's first surf coaster, so obviously it's a prototype. So while it is insane what they're doing, if compared to like probably other surf coasters in the future, they might like be more complicated and more thrilling ones in the future, obviously because it's the prototype. They don't know what territory they're going into, but it still looks absolutely fantastic, and I cannot wait for this huge groundbreaking attraction to open. So that is it for this week's episode of Coaster News. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you did, then please make sure to like, subscribe, and comment if you'd like to see in the next video. Bye!